Hello everybody, welcome to this heuristic evaluation of Magic Leap. My name is Micah Comfort. I'm a member of Team 2, along with Jonathan Morales, Nathaniel Garcia, and Francisco Quiroz. We did our heuristic evaluation on the Magic Leap company and their website. Magic Leap is a startup company founded in 2011. It focuses on mixed reality experiencing using a headset and controller. Most recently, they've just released their Magic Leap 1, which is their first consumer offering that utilizes both the headset and the controller to offer those mixed reality experiences. So for this company, we provided a heuristic evaluation. What is a heuristic evaluation, you might ask? Heuristic evaluation is a usability inspection method for computer software that helps to identify usability problems in the user interface. This is done typically by a team of people, usually between 3 and 6. Currently, our team was had 4 members that we used. The reason for using teams for this evaluation is because the individual will, on average, find about 15% of the actual problems on the website. Each team member goes through using agreed upon criteria, in this case the 6 heuristics that we chose, and we go through the entire website grading and judging the website on each individual criteria. Once we've done that, each team member, we get together as a team, we compare notes, compare all of the problems that we found, and then as a group we agree upon solutions to these problems. We then write up the report highlighting the problems and solutions and anything else that we may have found. From there, we present this report to the company so that they can see the solutions and see how we viewed their website. They can then decide to use those solutions, find different solutions, or in fact ignore our suggestions altogether. That is completely up to them. And that is what a heuristic evaluation is. Coming up, we will have Nathaniel Garcia, who will be explaining the first 3 heuristics that we used, both the problems that we discovered and the solutions that were used for it. Thank you.
Thanks, Micah. My name is Nathaniel Garcia, and I'm going to be going over the first 3 heuristics that were used on this site. So we used 6 in total, and they were criteria taken from Jacob Nielsen's 10 heuristics for user interface. We used consistency and standards, error prevention, flexibility and efficiency of use, aesthetic and minimalist design, helping users recognize, diagnose, recover from errors, and helping documentation. So the first one is consistency and standards. So the 2 problems that we found were the website having 2 navigation bars that made it kind of confusing to navigate through the site. And the second problem that we found from consistency is that the main page is very different from the rest of the subpages. Like the main page has like this whole animation going on and everything like that, and while it looks good, like as far as consistency goes, none of the rest of the website really isn't like that. So our recommendations were to just stick to 1 navigation bar. From our research, Stephen Douglas from Usability Geek says that UI designers should ensure that any prompts, dialog boxes, and menus should all share the same characteristics. The same is to be said of color, typography, and layout. So it's just better to keep the whole website just like consistent. It's just better on the eye, and it helps the users and whoever goes on the website to find the information better or whatever. So for the second recommendation, we said to just try to keep the same amount of dynamic visuals in each page, or use less of them, because from our research it shows that it's going to impact mobile functionality. So if I'm viewing this website on my phone, it's going to be hard. I'm not even sure if the animations show up on the phone, but it's going to be really hard for like older phones or whatever to like view the actual website, because it's so different. It has so many different floating parts. But that's what our recommendations for the consistency and standards were. If the company implemented these, I feel that it would just be a better user experience for the user, as they'll be able to find information better and just navigate to the site a little bit better. The second heuristic we used was error prevention. The problems we found were that the graphically bulky site will have problems loading on older machines, and will lead to missed and lost information, which will lead to errors in consumers' knowledge of the product. So like, let's say I'm on like a Windows XP laptop or some really old browser. The website is really advanced as far as animation and stuff like that. So it's going to be harder for older laptops and older computers to be able to even like view the information. Or like I even said previously, like older phones won't even be able to load the website properly. So consumers aren't going to be able to read the information correctly or learn about the product as much as they would want to from the site. So the second problem we found was the shop section. It was kind of its own website, but we found that it didn't really function properly. Like it was kind of hard to even purchase something from the site, um, and even hard to navigate it. So our recommendations were to just simplify the art and animations and just remove some of them to speed up the load times. And we need to make sure that the vital information of the site is easy to access on the load graphics page, so that anyone can access it and just learn about the product. Um, Doug Kim of the Microsoft design team suggests to recognize exclusion. It means examining what you build and recognizing and who would be excluded from using it. So someone on an older laptop, like I said, is gonna kind of have a hard time like reading the information and learning about the product. So that also goes into the shop page. They just need to make it easier and more easier to navigate, so customers can even purchase their products, because that's the whole point of the website. So I think if they fix their shop page and either dialed it down on the animations, it would be a lot easier for people to access their website and purchase their products. The next heuristic was flexibility and efficiency of use. The problems we found were that the website was kind of broken in three different areas, with kind of like it was three different sites. It was broken into three different sites, and there's little navigation or flow through between them. Systems used for navigation seem to be independent of one another and in different places. So this kind of goes back to the two navigation bars. And if you keep navigating through the site, you find that like it's kind of hard to go back unless you use the back button. So you kind of have to like manually click the back button to go back to where you were. And even the shop page is kind of like its own site. So it was just kind of confusing navigating and kind of like figuring out what you want to find. The other problem we found was that there was too much information on the screen at certain points. So it's kind of overwhelming to the user, and you kind of like don't know what to look for. If you're trying to look for a certain thing, it's kind of hard to find it, and it just makes the website appear cluttered and kind of hard to like navigate your way around. So our recommendations for this were to just make all the navigation on the site uniform. It's going to allow the people to know how to navigate between the information, shopping, and support without getting lost or becoming confused about how to get to a specific place. So like, it's just a better user experience if it's just all the navigation is uniform, and the sites, each page kind of has the same format. Our next recommendation was simplify the information on the screen and make it more accessible to people who don't understand the product or technology behind it. This is a very technological advanced product. It's a virtual reality headset. So some people might not even know what the website is selling at first. So I feel like they should have just like more simplified information for the users and explanations that take fewer words, and maybe even add a section about all the technical information, so that like the average person can go to the site and figure out what the site is about, what they're offering, and what they're selling. So thank you, and I will be passing it off to Francisco.
Okay, so starting off from where Nathaniel left off from, we're looking at aesthetics and minimal design this time. And we got two main issues here. We have number one, if the user scrolls too quickly, many details can be missed in the background. It's very easy to scroll past a lot of things, as there's a lot of animations in use, there's a lot of bright pictures, and the scrolling speed, you can just go right through it. And the second issue is the shop page is very different from the main page. We mean it's very bland, it's very boring, not a lot of color going on, and it gives a sense of disconnect for the user. And we've got two fixes for these. Our two recommendations are, number one, we add a mechanic to slow down the maximum scrolling speed, and this will allow the user to be able to take in all the information But we don't want to make it too slow, because then it just becomes tedious for the user to scroll through the website and they won't be getting through that whole page, right? We want the website to follow this thing called subordinate interaction choreography, which is when a website has one main thing that we want the user to focus on and multiple subordinate objects that will follow on later. This website right now has, I would say, multiple main objects, and it could be very hard to focus on one thing with so much going on. And our second solution is we need to redo the shop page to prevent any sort of user experience disconnect, because it is very different from the homepage. As I said, it's lacking the color and brightness of the homepage. And as Louis Wake from St. Andrews University explains, there has to be a consistent manner that your website interacts with the user, so that the user never feels lost or like alienated from your website. And then now we move on to helping users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors, which is a very straightforward. We got two main problems. The website does not fully provide the user with what they're expected to input in the empty boxes. So when the user goes to write in, sometimes the website doesn't provide the specific format of the input they want or need. And the second problem is in relation to the shop page. The checkout process has a verification process through email, and this little verification PIN code they have, and it's not very smooth and kind of faulty at times. To fix our first issue, we move on to our first recommendation that we derived from product designer Kapoor, who made it very clear to us how important it is to have a indication, a sort of indication of specific formatting that the user needs to input in the in the input boxes. And then when we don't, if not having this, will give the user multiple error messages and just hinder their experience, as they're not able to move on. Our second issue can be solved by adding an error message to for when the PIN code does not work. Right now, when the PIN code does not work, I personally received no error message, and this could confuse the user and give them no way out. And the second fix to that issue would be even better, in my opinion. We add a pathway back to the previous page, so that the user doesn't have to exit out of the whole web page and start all over. This way, they're not left hanging. So moving on to our final one, we got help and documentation. And the problem we got with this one is that it is too hard to find the section. It's hidden, and it's a very important part of the website. Simple fix. We got one recommendation. We make it more visible. That way we can help existing customers come back and get the help they need. It is important to advertise your product, but it is important as well to keep current customers satisfied by providing a help section that is prioritized and at the very front and one click away for most users.
Thank you, Francisco. Hi, my name is Jonathan Morales, and I will be briefly concluding this presentation and going over the sources that were used to perform the evaluation. Overall, Magic Leap has done a very good job. You can tell that they put a lot of work and effort into their site, and they really want their product to excel. They did, however, look over a couple of items and definitely left room for improvement. So we hope that with our evaluation, they can promptly address said issues and improve their user experience. Again, these items include better consistency throughout their site, having a more minimal design, easing off on those extra animations, and being a bit more flexible with their efficiency of use per audience type. Now, in order to perform this evaluation, we gathered many resources online in the form of blogs or articles written by experts in the web design field to further support our claims and provide better insights to the modern day web standards. Some of these sources include Medium posts from Microsoft and Google engineers, company blogs by reputable designers, journals written by professors and researchers at universities, and excerpts taken from the government's usability.gov website. With that being said, this brings us to the end of our presentation. I want to thank you all for your time. Again, we are Group 2 for Magic Leap's Heuristic Evaluation. Thank you.